Hi, my name is Timothy Hanschel, and for my final project, I researched the therapeutic usage of acupuncture in veterinary medicine. Uh, Veterinary medicine is a pretty broad field. I myself want to be a veterinarian when I'm older, uh, and I was considering doing acupuncture and specializing it in the future as well. So I thought it was a pretty interesting topic. Not many people know about it, so let's get into it. So, what is veterinary acupuncture? Acupuncture was first used in vet medicine in 1975 for a C-section on a cow. Acupuncture is often used to treat dogs with arthritis and joint inflammation, and it also helps dogs with hip dysplasia or degenerative joint disease. As you can see there's a picture of a horse, um, and you might be wondering what are these dots and what are these numbers? What is going on? Um, and what these are, they're called points, and these points are where the needles go for acupuncture, and they respond to different nerves, and it's pretty interesting. So most veterinarians and technicians um, all need to know these points so they can effectively do acupuncture. So I thought this was pretty surprising. So there's different types of acupuncture. There's 5 different types. The three here. The first one is dry needle acupuncture. This is pretty much the one that everybody thinks of when they think of acupuncture. This method uses needles only, so you can see the just needles on the whole animal. Usually the animals are relaxed when this happens, as all types of acupuncture, but this is pretty much the most common. And when people say acupuncture, this is pretty much the one that you're gonna think of. The next 4 are actually pretty interesting too. So the next one is electroacupuncture. This method is stronger, works inside the muscle of the patient, and this can be compared to a TENS unit in physical therapy to provide hands-free massage. So it's pretty interesting. I think there's a good uh, uh, reason to use a TENS machine for humans. So it's interesting for patients, for dogs and cats, especially if they're very stressed out, to use this method. Um, the only problem with this method is it for seizure patients or patients prone to seizures, can't use this type of acupuncture. But I think it's a good comparison with a TENS unit, and people will kind of understand what their dog or cat or horse or another pet is going through. The next one is aqua acupuncture. This method involves the injection of a liquid into the acupuncture point. Usually the common fluid is vitamin B12. I shadow an equine veterinarian, and this is the method they use. It was very interesting. At first, I didn't even think they were doing acupuncture because I didn't see any needles at all. But I asked them questions, and they're like, "Yeah, this is how we do it." And the vitamin B12 is good for the animals. It makes them more healthy, makes them have more vitamins. And this is the vitamin B12 is injected at these points. So the two last ones, the two last ones is laser acupuncture. This method involves using laser light to penetrate the tissues and stimulate acupuncture points, which is like super cool. It's a very short period of time, so it's only up to like 30 seconds. And then the other one is moxa bushin. This method involves the stimulation of acupuncture points using moxa. This is like a stick. Because it is like a stick, this is not the most common, but it's also used. So techniques and training for professionals. So this kind of field is interesting. Acupuncture is not really a something you learn in a veterinary school specifically, and it's not a specialization um, that you would really go for a residency. It's kind of like in between. It's kind of like a post doctorate master's. And that's like the best comparison. So I also talked to my equine vet, and he went to the Chi Institute, which is in Florida. There's also the College of Integrative Veterinary Therapies, CIVT. And these are the two institutions that offer this certification. It's a certification. It's not like a license. It's not the same as like specializing or the DVM program or VDM program or VMD program. Um, and it's a lot different. So this is pretty much program. I think it's online mostly for both of these institutes. And there's like 2 in-person sessions. And the equine vet I worked with, he got certified in acupuncture. So why should owners consider giving their pets acupuncture? It reduces pain, inflammation. It's kind of like a massage. Um, it also gives owners the option of more affordable treatment. So, for example, this is an anecdotal case, but for example, my yellow lab, she has a torn ACL meniscus issue, and it's about $2,000 to do surgery, and my dog is 10 years old. So doing surgery might not be the best option. It's not a great thing that she has it's not the best diagnosis that she has a ACL meniscus issue, but we don't want to put her through surgery at 10 years old, and it's expensive. So acupuncture can be a better solution. I want to try it for my pet that I have, and I want to see how it works. And it gives a more affordable option if surgery or another diagnostic is too expensive. But yeah, but we'll go into this more. We want to also make sure that we're not treating acupuncture. It's like the greatest thing ever. There's obviously downside. It doesn't do everything perfectly. It's not for everything, right? It's not gonna, if the dog or cat or another animal needs a specific surgery, and it's it's essential, an essential surgery. Acupuncture is not gonna replace that life-saving surgery or treatment indefinitely. So, animal welfare. So as we just said, the second point right there is this should not be substitute for needed surgery, nor should it be recommended in place of euthanasia, especially in quality of life cases. When an animal's quality of life is not doing, and the animal's not doing well, it's that's a conversation between the client and the veterinarian. But acupuncture is not going to fix all your problems, but it is a good therapy. Ethical veterinarians have a responsibility to understand aspects of major therapies, to open discussion, to be willing to research client questions about their therapies, and be willing to refer to a knowledgeable colleague. I think this is the heart of veterinary medicine and the heart of efficacy in the field. So veterinary acupuncture for dogs and cats. So for cats and dogs, with these disorders, illnesses, this was from a study in 2008. Very great study. It is in my references. It's just very, very helpful to understand. Really great article to start out with. So these are some of the diseases, illnesses, disorders that veterinary acupuncture can help with, especially in dogs and cats specifically. So for horses, positive results of acupuncture in these diseases. Laminitis is one of the disorders that I think is pretty interesting. There's not a known cure for it. There's only treatment. So acupuncture for that disease. is would be crucial, would be great. But one study did say that it didn't do as well. That acupuncture didn't really help the horse with laminitis, and we'll get into that later. And then on the second point, this was this was amazing to see. This is the same study from 2008. In a comprehensive study, complete recovery occurred after acupuncture in a horse with osteoarthritis of hip joint, and the horse returned to racing. Significant improvement was seen in 2 horses with flexor tendonitis, that's the flexor tendon in the leg. After treatment, these horses won their races. So it really shows you that veterinary acupuncture is not it's effective in a lot of cases. Veterinary acupuncture for ruminants. So these are some of the diseases, reported diseases for ruminants: hepatitis, colic, ketonuria, disorders of the rumen near the stomach. So these are the disorders. Successful results have been reported using acupuncture in bulls, and also with ruminants that have rumen acidosis, which is pretty common. So let's start with our first case study. This is musculoskeletal disorders. So we're going to go, each case study is kind of a broad summary of the type of disorder, where it is in the body. So musculoskeletal, 20 out of 37 patients that suffered from musculoskeletal disorders completely recovered after acupuncture treatment, 54%. Another 7 patients had good recovery after acupuncture treatment, but were not completely restored. And this is what I was saying before. In another study, it said that laminitis and Wobbler syndrome in horses, the acupuncture didn't really help as much, but it did help dogs with spinal cord injuries. So it's something to consider. Neurological disorders, 11 out of 25 patients that suffered neurological disorders completely recovered after acupuncture treatment, so that's 44%. Another 3 patients had pretty good treatment, pretty good recovery. Recovery of adrenal cortical function with dogs with Cushing syndrome improved with electroacupuncture too, which is pretty interesting to see. So it's not just joints and muscles and bones. It's also neurological disease like Cushing's that acupuncture helps. Internal medicine, 3 of the 4 patients that suffered internal medicine disorders completely recovered after acupuncture treatment. This is a low number of patients, but it was 75%. Another patient that suffered internal medicine had good recovery. So that other 1 patient had pretty good recovery, just didn't completely recover. Reproductive disorders, another only 2 patients that were looked at, but both of them had complete recovery after acupuncture treatment. Emergency surgical anesthesia, I combined all of these. 4 of the 6 patients that suffered emergency respiratory arrest suffered very well, so that's 66%. 9 out of 12 patients that received surgical procedures and then had acupuncture. The acupuncture treatment worked for them. It really helped them after surgery, so 75% for those patients, that patient group. And then dogs also have better cardiovascular health after being under anesthesia when treated with electroacupuncture, which is pretty interesting too. So it's actually affecting the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system. So it's the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system, the muscles, musculoskeletal system, the endocrine and neurological system. So it's affecting everything, which is great in a positive way. So this is the conclusion. Veterinary acupuncture is a very interesting therapeutic treatment in the medical field. It's more of a therapy than a treatment, but it can treat different ailments. It is not, however, an absolute cure to disease and might not help all patients, as same with any medication, surgery, diagnostics, you name it. But it is the best is one of the researched and known treatments and therapeutics. Although I think that this is a great field to study. I think it's not a lot of people even know usually a lot about acupuncture in the human world. So I think that more research in the future can really bring more knowledge and shed light on acupuncture in human medicine and veterinary medicine as we kind of merge those research together and learn from and veterinarians can learn from doctors and doctors can learn from veterinarians. These are my references. The first study, I said it's a great read. It's really interesting. It really, piqued my interest. The next two were really great too. Got more information on the second one. The third reference it was more efficacy and kind of like going over efficacy in veterinary medicine and efficacy in acupuncture because it is very kind of interesting. It's not the easiest pill to swallow, and I didn't want to put a lot of the photos of veterinary acupuncture on this slide because I think it sheds a bad light on it. It doesn't look great. It doesn't have a positive outlook. It kind of has a negative look to it, even though it is a positive thing. It just kind of looks weird. Even it kind of even looks weird like with humans, but it's not bad. And then these are my other two references. One from the Tranquil Paws Vet, and then one from the VCA. Thank you so much for listening to me and my research. I really hope you learned something, and I hope to research this more in my undergrad degree here at ASU and in my future at veterinary school and beyond, and in my career as a veterinarian. Thank you so much. God bless, and have a great evening.